The Nazis are
The
combing
man who infiltrated Auschwitz. This seems so interesting.
through Warsaw. Behind the door, the man doesn't move. He knows exactly what's happening. This is a roundup, part of Hitler's plan to destroy Poland by annihilating its professional class. Lawyers, writers, doctors, teachers, Jewish Poles, Catholic Poles. They're seized from the streets, from their homes. Thousands of them. Many will be sent to concentration camps. The others will simply be shot. But he has a plan. Unlike the thousands of others, he wants to get caught.
Out! Out!
He's a member of an underground resistance movement. He knows he'll probably be interned and sent to a recently opened concentration camp outside a Polish town called Auschwitz. He's adopted a false identity, Tomasz Zerafinski, and his mission is clear. Enter the camp, form a resistance, and send reports of Nazi crimes. Now, he can't know that he'll succeed, that he will build a secret network, that he'll smuggle out multiple reports on the murderous labor, the starvation rations, the rising death toll, that he'll watch as the camp expands from labor to death camp, and that the Allies, despite his pleas, will do nothing. This is the story of Witold Pilecki, the man who infiltrated Auschwitz.
Bro, this is a whole ass movie. This is really good design.
This video is largely based on both Pilecki's report and The Volunteer by Jack Fairweather. You'll find links in the description. We'd also like to thank Bartłomiej Kapica at the Pilecki Institute.
Crazy name.
Government, and Brussels says that Allied troops are moving to their support. The German army invaded Holland and Belgium early this morning by land and by landing from Calais.
It's a crucial moment. Either the Allies will defeat the Germans or the war will stretch on. Poland's fate hangs in the balance. The reports are terrible. At Dunkirk, the British are routed. Then Paris falls. The news is devastating. The war will continue. It's only been 8 months, but already Poland has been grimly transformed. Germany invaded on September 1st, 1939. Some 1.5 million German troops and more than 2,000 tanks stormed the country. The Blitzkrieg. The Luftwaffe bombed cities and airfields. The Poles fought back but were eventually overpowered. Witold, a 38-year-old second lieutenant in the cavalry reserves, was in the thick of it. His men were mowed down by German tanks in early September. He only narrowly escaped with his life. His beloved Arabian mare fairy tale wasn't so lucky. It was over in minutes. Most of his men injured, captured, or dead. Witold heads for Warsaw. If the capital falls, all will be lost. The retreat of the Poles was plagued by German planes, bombs, bullets. They killed indiscriminately, soldiers and civilians alike. Hitler's orders. When Witold arrived in Warsaw on September 6th, he found a city in chaos. The Polish government had fled. Witold left too. He planned to regroup with troops in the east, but each rallying point was bombed before he arrived. On September 9th, Witold and his men headed towards Włocławek. On September 13 in Włodawa, it was the same story. But here he met an old military colleague, Major Jan Włodakiewicz. Both men had collected stragglers along the way, a full company's worth. As other members of the military command left the country, Witold and Jan decided to stay and make a stand.
But
the fight didn't last long.
Never mind.
On September 17,
Chad's
the
at heart.
Soviet Union joined in the fray. Back in August, they had signed a non-aggression pact with Germany, splitting Poland between them. On September 28, Warsaw surrendered. For Poland, the war was over. The country was occupied yet again. The occupation is hell. Germany has imposed a racial hierarchy. Master race, Germans. Below them, former Polish citizens who could prove German ancestry. Then laborers, ethnic Poles treated as slaves, facing everyday terror. And finally, Jews, portrayed by the Nazis as subhuman, parasitic, and evil, determined to destroy the German race, brutally persecuted and destined for total extermination. With the occupation of Poland, some 3 million Jewish people came under Nazi control. Thousands of Jews have been concentrated in ghettos in the cities. They must wear a Star of David. Their property was confiscated. Thousands are already dead. After Poland's surrender, Jan and Witold returned to Warsaw and talked strategy. They would form an underground resistance, Jan as leader, Witold as chief recruiter. Their name is Tajna Armia Polska, the secret Polish army. They share information about German operations, spy on Polish informants, stockpile weapons, and they wait, hoping for an opportunity to rise up and revolt. But those hopes were just dashed. The Nazis won at Dunkirk and occupied Paris. In Poland, conditions worsen. Witold almost gets caught in a raid. Afterwards, he adopts his alias, Tomasz Serafiński. Others, like Witold's colleague Władysław Dering, are seized by the SS. Władysław Sumacki, the underground's chief of staff, meets the same fate. Jan calls an emergency meeting. They're not sure where Sumacki and Dering have been taken, but they have a guess. Reports have emerged that the SS have just opened a new concentration camp outside the small town of Oswięcim, which the Nazis call Auschwitz. The underground knows little about it, but it seems brutal. And as long as the camp remains shrouded in secrecy, the underground leadership believes that the Germans can get away with anything there. A great honor has befallen you, Jan tells Witold. They
Hell
need
no, I'm not
someone
doing
to
it.
infiltrate the camp, send reports, and possibly organize an uprising. A great
for my
honor.
death.
Witold has a wife, Maria, and 2 children,
Bro.
Andrei and Zofia. If he goes, he may never see them again.
Yeah, I'm not doing that, especially
From the
after
mysterious camp, the SS sends many death notices to the families of deceased inmates, sometimes along with their blood-splattered belongings. Witold cannot be ordered to go. He has to make a choice. And after a few days, he does. He volunteers. The train
Classic.
stops, and the horror begins.
Heraus! Raus! Raus!
Chaos, confusion. Witold manages to avoid the blows.
Zu fünfen!
He follows the order, joining a row of 5. Another man follows
that a
orders
firing
too.
squad?
He is told to run to the side of the road. It's a lesson. If one man tries to escape, everyone gets punished. Arbeit macht frei. Work sets you free. Soon enough, they'll learn what this truly means. For now, though, there's a moment of pause. Everyone is counted, even the corpses. Then the nightmare continues. At first, Witold thinks this is an insane asylum. But then this. One of the lunatics grabs a man. He demands his profession. A judge, the man responds. Wrong answer. These men aren't lunatics. They are Pole killing machines, or as Witold will learn to call them, capos. And their first targets are the intelligentsia, judges, priests, lawyers. Only workers and craftsmen are spared. This is Auschwitz concentration camp, my dear sirs. In groups of 100, the men are sent to the bath. There, a grim announcement.
None of you should hope to get out of this place alive. The rations are calculated for you to survive for 6 weeks. If you live longer, it means you steal. And if you steal, you will be put in the penal company, where you won't stay alive for long.
Then each
What?
is transformed from person to prisoner. Stripped, shaved. Vitold's transformation is almost complete. But first, he hadn't broken a rule. The bathkeeper had arbitrarily decided he wanted prisoners to hold their registration numbers in their mouths. It was a sort of brutal baptism. From now on, Vitold will have no name, only a number. 4859. 2 13s, double unlucky. His
Damn.
comrades believe it's an evil omen, a sign that he'll die. But Vitold is happy to have them. Above his prisoner number, each man also gets a winkel. There are 5 colors: criminals, people who refuse to work, Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexuals, and people like Vitold, political offenders. The winkles may
got the
differ,
serious face?
but for
Not for real.
everyone,
I'm locked in
the
on
days
this.
are the
Interesting.
same. A day in Auschwitz looks like this. 5:20 a.m. Up, quick,
Nah,
full
you gotta
blanket.
share a bed with a dude.
Mattress to the side of the room. Dress, quick, quick. Any delay? They call the block elder Bloody Alois for a reason. He will beat you ruthlessly. Single-handedly, he kills several people per day. Quick, to the latrines. You have 5 seconds. Any delay? More beating. Quick, bathe. There's no way to wash properly, but getting water is a matter of life and death. At night, the soles of your feet must be clean. If they're not, ruthless beating. 5:45 a.m. Roll call. By 6 a.m., everyone must be present. If you are absent, you will be found and publicly killed. Then, the formation of work units. Here, work often equals death. Vitold doesn't know this yet, but he got lucky. He was selected as a Stubendienst, a room supervisor, and is allowed to remain on the block. The less fortunate work until 11:20 a.m. 11:30 roll call, 12 to 1 lunch. Then more work until evening roll call.
They got a whole hour lunch. I feel like that's pretty generous, given everything they've done so far.
Vitold's role is to clean the block when the others leave, and to impose order. If anyone misbehaves, moves slowly, or steps out of line, he should beat them. Vitold keeps the block clean and orderly, but Bloody Alois does not like his methods. For his lack of brutality, Vitold is punished and gets banished from the block. Today, he'll work. He has no idea which work unit to join and ends up in the gravel pit. The gravel is for the expansion of the crematorium. Vitold is strong and moves with caution. Rest means a beating, and falling, death. But the misfortune
Wait,
of others
really?
is also your salvation. Waiting while a fallen comrade is beaten is the only rest you'll get. For 3 days, this is Vitold's life. A back-breaking balancing act. No breaks, little water, starvation rations. Right when Vitold thinks he won't be able to survive another day, Bloody Alois allows him back on the block. Now you know what work at the lager means, he says. There's only one benefit Vitold can see to these horrendous conditions. They might unite the prisoners. And unity
True.
is exactly what his mission requires.
At that time, my main goal was to establish a military organization in order to 1. Build up inmates' spirit by distributing and circulating news from the outside. 2. Provide, as much as possible, additional food and distribute undergarments among the members. 3. Pass on information on what was going on in the camp to the outside world. And, most importantly, 4. Prepare the Zao Zone troops to seize control of the camp at an opportune moment, following an airdrop of weapons or troops landing in the area.
To accomplish any of this, Vitold will need help. First, he finds Władysław Dering. He is pale, sickly, but alive, working as a nurse on the hospital ward. From Dering, Witold learns that Władysław Słomacki is also still alive, working in the construction office. He's helped with building projects around the camp.
Okay, so they all in different, like, working like different sectors, and they have different like advantages and information they gather and share with each other. It's kind of smart.
In Auschwitz, there are countless ways to die. A brutal beating, a bullet to the head. But one killer is deadlier than the rest. Hunger. Later, the SS devised a survival time formula. Life expectancy in months equals 5,000 divided by the deficit of calories. Daily rations are 1,800 calories. Calories needed to sustain hard labor are 2,700. 900 calories short. 5,000 divided by 900 equals 5.5 months.
Damn.
In reality, the prisoner's daily caloric intake was even lower. Each day is a deficit leading toward death. Managing calories will require cooperation. And that means recruitment. Witold trusts
How do you
Dering
manage
and
calories?
Słomacki. They are first. Then 3 more, forming a command group of 6. After that, it's a delicate and dangerous endeavor. Recruiting strangers. Who to trust? These men are patiently waiting to betray their fellow prisoners. The SS will pay them for their service with a scrap of bread. Not everyone stoops this low, but hunger corrodes the soul. Anyone could break. So Witold watches for acts of altruism. He selects for selflessness. The network grows, and its effects begin to be felt. Room supervisors are instructed to serve the weakest first, and recruits aren't to ask for seconds, ensuring equal rations for all. Meanwhile, Słomacki's made an important connection. The Stupkas, a family living near the train station close to the camp. They are willing to help. The mother Helena distracts the guards. Słomacki and his team of surveyors use the family's toilet, where food and medicine has been stashed for them. Helena also shares information. England has not fallen. The news is good. For Witold, doubly so. If information can be smuggled into the camp, perhaps it can also be smuggled out.
True.
Noon roll call. Witold's 37th. By now,
When is the game starting? What game?
the resistant network has grown. They've supported each other as best they can. Here, in the courtyard though, there's nothing they can do. A prisoner is missing. No one is allowed to move until he's found. First, the temperature falls. Then darkness falls. Then, the bodies. The timing could hardly be worse. Witold has finally found someone to smuggle a message out of the camp. Now, the plan is at risk. You can't smuggle anything if you die of pneumonia. And as the prisoners drop, death seems more and more likely. Not that Witold believes his message will change their fate.
How are the guards not affected by it then?
For his request is not for assistance, it's for annihilation. Alexander Wielopolski has memorized the urgent and well-thought request sent on behalf of comrades by the witness of their torment. Bomb the camp.
No way.
How many have already died here? At first, the number remained a grim mystery. Then Witold cracked it. The truth lies in the registration numbers. They correspond to the order of arrival, and the newcomers have numbers in the 6,000s. At roll call though, there are only about 5,000 men. 1,000 men dead in a month. Death seems inevitable. If the Allies bomb the camp, some prisoners might escape in the confusion. Even if they all die, it will not be in vain, as long as Auschwitz is destroyed. Witold and his comrades must get their message to Warsaw. Helena Stupka couldn't help. She had no connections, couldn't travel. But there's another way. In these early days in Auschwitz, it's still possible for a prisoner's family to buy his freedom.
Wait,
And
really?
finally, it happened. A 31-year-old was scheduled to be released, Alexander Wielopolski. But smuggling a written report is far too dangerous. Alex had to memorize the message. From noon to 9, they stand, waiting. Finally, the missing prisoner is found, dead, beside a pile of logs. By morning, another 86 are dead. More succumb to pneumonia in the coming days. One of Witold's closest allies among them, but the plan remains intact.
Damn.
Alexander survives. He carries the message out, beyond the barbed wire fences, and is gone. For those left behind, it seems certain. Death will come. The only question is in what form. October becomes November. November, December. But no bombs fall. Meanwhile, Witold's message is on the move. From Warsaw to Switzerland, through France to Spain, and from there to London.
That's
the
crazy
underground
travel.
finds a way.
The prisoners begged the Polish government for the love of God to bombard these warehouses. Should they die in the attack, it would be a relief given the conditions.
In January 1941, the bombing request reaches the Air Ministry in London. But over the course of its transmission, it's been shortened. The nightmarish camp conditions are only briefly mentioned. In the end, the chief of the air staff is curt and decisive. An attack on the camp would be an undesirable diversion and unlikely to achieve its purpose. Back in Auschwitz, Witold fell ill. The labor, the lack of food, the relentless misery, it's finally caught up to him. Now he's here in the hospital ward. But in Auschwitz, this is not a place where people recover.
It's ready to die.
Witold has come to understand the meaning of the sign at the entrance. Arbeit macht frei. Work sets you free. It grants the freedom of death. A corpse's escape through the crematorium.
Damn.
If the fever doesn't kill him, the
Bacteria.
lice surely will. He kills as many as he can.
Wait, lice?
The lice surely will.
Lice?
He kills as many as he can. A futile task. Luckily, the resistance network saves him. He manages to get a note to Dering, and Dering sneaks him to a different room with an uninfested bed. There, Witold fights his fever. Waking, sleeping, waking, sleeping, waking, sleeping, waking, sleeping. February is almost over, and Witold has nearly regained his health. Without Dering, he almost certainly would have died. Meanwhile, the resistance is growing. By March, there are several hundred members with connections all across the camp.
W.
The camp itself is also growing. This is part of a major expansion, from holding 10,000 prisoners to 30,000. This means job openings and opportunities for Witold's men to fill them. One recruit gets a capo job, another manages the stables. The underground is gaining a bit more control. It can offer a little protection, a little extra food, but these are merely means of delaying the inevitable. Since its opening, Auschwitz has admitted over 15,000 prisoners. Not even a full year has passed, and only 8,500 remain. 6,500
Holy
men
crap.
dead. This number seems monstrous. Witold doesn't know it yet, but it's about to get exponentially worse. This is the largest army the world has ever seen. Over 3 million men from the Axis powers, 600,000 tanks and other motorized vehicles, a 1,000-mile front. It's June 22, 1941, and Germany is invading the Soviet Union. The Red Army falls in a flash. The prisoners of war are put in pens, like animals. Each week a new batch, hundreds of thousands of them. Soon enough, they begin to arrive in Auschwitz. At first, a few hundred, then a few hundred more. Disposing of them is messy at first,
Bro, why did you shoot
inefficient,
that guy?
but the
What'd he
Germans
do?
hone their technique. In November, Witold witnesses it.
I counted 800s. The building these prisoners were entering was the crematorium.
Maybe he thinks they'll be given underwear, clothing. But why there?
One can remain naive till one's last breath.
Zyklon B, a cyanide-based delousing agent. Upon contact with the air, the pellets turn into a toxic gas. This is Auschwitz's first gas chamber, with industrial-scale killing capacity.
Damn.
Later on, I found out that there was over 1,000 of them in total.
By now, there are nearly as many Soviet prisoners as Polish ones in the camp. They've been put to work constructing a new camp, Birkenau. It will accommodate another 100,000 prisoners.
Jesus.
Over the course of the winter months, 11,400 Soviets are killed.
What's the benefit of keeping
There was
them
a
alive?
constant outflow of prisoners through the chimney of the crematorium.
This may be by far the most common way out of the camp, but we told Nose there are others. Alexander Wielopolski wasn't the only prisoner to leave the camp his freedom purchased. More than 300 others have left this way. Some of them carried reports from the underground. Karol Switorseki, a report on death figures and camp conditions. Ferdinand Troczniki, a report on death figures and Birkenau. Even Władysław Surmacki, he carried a similar report. Witold stays. He knows his wife Maria might try to buy his freedom. He may have explicitly requested that she not. We don't know for sure. Auschwitz, he believes, is the centerpiece of the Nazis' plans for domination, and he continues to believe the Allies will intervene. He wants to be here when they do. That can't be said for everyone.
What's the plan?
Some try to escape. Usually that looks like this: impulsive and pointless, unless the point is death. Often it is. In Auschwitz, there's a slang phrase for suicide: to go for the wires. But some escapes are audaciously planned and successful. This is a Steyr 220, the camp commandant's car. 6 cylinders, 2.3 liters. And this is Eugeniusz, a mechanic. He dreams of stealing it. If he could get out the gate, no vehicle would be fast enough to catch him. There's only one problem: the checkpoint.
Just drive right
He'd need
through
to
it.
look the part. He'd need to sound it too. This is where his friend Kazi comes in. He's fluent in German, and he knows where the spare uniforms are kept. A plan takes shape.
So they work together and escape
Vito
together?
thinks that maybe, just maybe, it's crazy enough to work. He has Stanislav Jasta join them with another memorized message. A monk named Josef Lempart rounds out the group. June 20th, a Saturday. They spring into action, slip away from work, break into the storeroom, pile in the car. Now they're here. Jaster whispers to Kazik, "Do something.
Mach auf!
Open up." It works. The guards open the
way.
gate. The deputy commandant passes on his horse.
Why is that horse
The
made of
SKPs
ice?
salute him. He salutes back. Then they drive through the gate.
Yeah, but
Free.
wouldn't they be able to tell from their faces that they're super malnourished? Like malnutrient? Fuck
Yeah.
me.
It's like something out of a movie.
Malnourished.
But the report they carry out of the camp could not be more serious.
I wonder what the SS men were thinking. There were many women and children in these carriages, sometimes babies in their cradles. Here they were to end their lives altogether, like a herd of animals led for slaughter.
Vito
They
does
had to
not
have
know
been
its
like
name,
evil people.
but this is the final solution. They arrive by the thousand. By the thousand, they're gassed and burned. It is 1942, the year Auschwitz-Birkenau becomes a central site for the systemic mass murder of Jewish people. The mass gassings began in May. The resistance watches as more and more and more people are brought here to be killed. There are two options: do nothing or resist. And finally, they decide to resist. A plan for an uprising has already been outlined. In the evening, before roll call, work units returning, it's a moment of flux. If they strike then, maybe one group can overpower the guards here and here, while another group seizes weapons here. Armed, they might stand a chance. By now, the underground boasts about 1,000 men with a vast network of connections. But Vitold still fears the worst. Without external support, the prisoners will very likely be slaughtered. But support still has not come, despite his many messages. More and more, it seems the prisoners must rise up alone. Vitold's fears have come true. The uprising did not go well, all because of a misunderstanding.
What happened?
The uprising had been planned for 6 p.m. on June 10th, the end of the workday. But that day at 4:30 p.m., a whistle blew. A break? Or was this it? The time to strike. Some acted, others didn't. Only 2 prisoners managed to escape. Those left behind are punished. Vitold survives.
Damn!
But morale plummets.
What
1942
idiots?
becomes 1943.
Well,
Vitold's
they don't have
messages
clocks. They probably thought it was actually 6 p.m.
have reached Warsaw. He described the horror in all its detail.
Phenol. That was the new instrument of murder. On average, 1,000 people were burned every day. Young boys aged 10 to 14 or 15 were picked from these transports. The SS men would rifle through suitcases and wallets looking for gold, money, and diamonds. The camp authorities had them all murdered with phenol injections.
But liberating Auschwitz would be extremely difficult. Would there be enough Polish underground fighters to overwhelm the SS? Would the Allies support the attack with airstrikes? In Warsaw, few see any chance of success. Vitold is still determined. Maybe if he delivers a report himself, he can persuade the resistance movement to intervene. To do that, though, he has to get out.
So he's finally
But
leaving now?
how?
Hide under a car.
Civilian clothing, money, knife. They need all this once they make it out. If they make it out. Apples, honey, jam, sugar for bribes. Cured tobacco to throw the dogs off their scent. And if
You could bribe somebody with honey?
they're caught, cyanide capsules. Vitold collects it all. The plan is to escape from here, the bakery. It only has 2 guards, but that doesn't mean it's easy to leave. This is Jan Recce. He works on the baker's squad and cases the premises. The windows are barred. There's a single entrance, it's locked and double bolted. There's also this latch, always fastened by the departing shift. Vitold and Jan might be able to steal a door key. But what about the latch? Then Jan has an idea. The bolt is attached with a nut from inside the door. Maybe they could unscrew it somehow. In the end, their plan's crucial ingredient is bread. Jan uses a piece of dough to make an imprint. He does the same with the key.
Yo.
Vitold has a wrench made to fit the nut. He has a key made too. Jan tests
How
it.
do they make that?
It works. The bakery squad walks out of Auschwitz's front under the Arbeit macht frei sein. Vitold and Jan are among them. Also Edik, a 19-year-old who'd helped Vitold and been invited to escape. Bribes got them here. For the capo, to convince him to let Edik and Vitold work on the bakery squad. For the bakers who let Edik and Vitold take their shifts. They won't get this shift again. They have one shot. Tonight or never.
Oh, they bribed other prisoners with apples. I was like, how are you bribing a guard? Like, they have enough
Darkness
food
has
already.
fallen. They'd planned to be gone by now. But there's a problem. It's raining, and an off-duty SS officer and his girlfriend are sheltering beneath the eaves of the bakery. An hour passes. 2. The odds of escape diminish with each passing minute. Finally, the rain stops and the lovers leave. There's no time to lose. There's a plausible excuse to enter the storage room. They need more fuel. Edik pushes a wheelbarrow for coal. Vitold starts chopping wood. He makes as much noise as possible to cover for the sounds of Jan dealing with the door. First, Jan twists off the nut. Now, the bolts. Suddenly, an SS officer pokes his head through the door. He looks at Vitold and Edik. They freeze. Busted. Maybe. He walks across the room toward the bakery entrance. Luckily, Jan made it to the toilet. The SS officer is suspicious, but not very observant. He walks away. The plan is still on. Edek uses a knife to cut the phone wires. If they get out, they don't want the SS calling for backup. Vitold and Edek grab their civilian clothes. Jan has already changed into his. Now, there's one last step. But the lock doesn't budge. Jan tries again, fails. There's no time to waste, and they're so close. Jan pushes against the door. Vitold joins him. The door bends, but stays closed.
What's wrong?
Another great
Magic
heave,
door?
and they're out.
The soldiers are gonna hear
The
that.
stars are shining in the sky. Jan sprints ahead toward the river. Vitold follows, Edek beside him. Shots ring out behind them. They don't look back. Across a bridge, along the river. They run and run. Ahead, cover. They're almost there. But now they have to walk. Slowly, they can't attract attention. Finally, they make it to the forest. And vanish into the trees.
What a contrast with the camp in which I felt I had spent 1,000 years. A silence far from the roar of humanity, far from man's scheming.
Okay, but
A silence in which
you
there
didn't
was
really
not a
do
living
anything.
soul.
You went in there,
We were enchanted by everything,
like made a
We
bunch
were
of
in love
friends,
with the
watched them all
world.
die, and then left yourself.
just not with its people.
Like there was no like,
Vitold
you didn't like
is finally free.
like do anything sort of better good. It's not done. Hold up.
The execution is quick. A bullet to the back of the head. In the 5 years since his escape, Vitold has remained loyal to Poland. The country is now under Soviet control. Vitold sent information about the occupation to the Polish government in exile. He lived under various aliases. He changed jobs regularly, but at least he was reunited with his family.
W.
Eventually, the communists caught him. The list of alleged crimes is long. Forged documents, illegal firearms, espionage for foreign imperialism. Brutal interrogations followed.
No.
A show trial. And now this. The Polish communist authorities tried to kill his story too. They had executed a man who most Poles would consider a hero. A fact they tried to consign to the ash heap of history.
No
And
way
they
they killed
almost
him.
succeeded. His story was hidden for decades. After his escape, Vitold wrote a comprehensive report chronicling the horrors of Auschwitz. It wasn't published until 1991. More than 40 years after his execution, he was rehabilitated. Later, he was awarded the Order of the White Eagle,
What happened to his
Poland's
son?
highest military honor. His grave has never been found.
That's fucked up. But I feel like it's sad, but it's also like, bro, you could have done more. I take that back, bro. I'm saying that like I could have done anything better, but like he went in there trying to stop it, but he never ended up stopping it. He just got himself killed. Maybe helped a few people escape, but like, come on.
Austin, super hot. Every girl wants a shot, but he can't go to the bars no more. His race is too high, it's lore. He loves LeBron, that's for sure, but the girls, they just want more. Austin, what to do when every girl wants you?